Most agents buy software thinking it'll fix their problems. But Stacey here says that we're doing it backwards. So we're going to ask Stacey why we're doing it backwards. So we welcome you back for another awesome conversation with Stacey McVey. Part 2, the Offerin Podcast. Here we talk about real stories, real solutions to real problems in the world of real estate. So looking to dive in with Stacey here today and for a Part 2 conversation. So Stacey, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Why are agents doing this thing backwards, this technology thing?
Because it's so fun to look at. It's fun to learn about. It's fun to hear what's new. That guy's using it. So if I use it, I can be successful. Like, the attraction is real. Technology is fun. You look at how technology is, basically shown up in every aspect of our life. Yep. And so it becomes easier and easier for people to get distracted by it. And that's what's happening in real estate.
Interesting. So we chat a little bit pre-show, and you mentioned that agents are over investing in tools. They're draining their pockets because it's like, oh, it's only $19.99, $13.99, $29.99, and then you have all these tools, but it's not actually selling them more houses. Like, what's going on? What is happening here? Because technology is great.
It is great. It is great. And as we mentioned pre-show, when I started, we were doing everything in person, and it was so much more time consuming. And so now that we can do so much with leverage through technology, it's like, well, more must be better. Mm-hmm. I'll just do this thing, and I want to do this thing, and I want to do that thing. So there's an application for every one of those things. And come on, $9.99, $12.99. We're just not tracking our money, and it's just what we find among real estate agents. We're just not awesome at tracking our expenses. We're awesome at saying yes to things and being distracted. We're not always good at holding ourselves accountable to the expenses that we're running. And there just becomes this bloat. So you start with whatever your core technology solutions are. Maybe those are offered by your broker.
What? CRM.
Your CRM.
Yep.
Maybe you've got a CMA creation tool.
Yep.
And when you're new, you're like, cool, I'm joining this broker because they have this stuff. And then you get in there and you're like, this stuff sucks. This doesn't look like me. It's too corporate-y, or it's too this or that. And so then you start looking to customize. And this is where it starts, where one little thing and then you add another little thing. And these things don't necessarily integrate and play well in the same sandbox, but you just keep adding logins. Now, add to that, you've got a real estate agent who the vast majority, I would venture, have some ADHD tendencies. And I'm not saying you are the thing. I'm saying you have some of these attributes that make it difficult to button down and actually have a predictable workflow that you're going to follow each and every time. So you've got 12 different logins to now get a CMA done, because you have your login for your AI that's going to do it. You have your login for your MLS to pull your data from. You have your login to Canva because you want to add the cover. But it goes on and on and on. Yeah. And before you know it, steps are getting left out, and 12 months have gone by. You haven't even logged into the thing. And that's where it starts. And it can get really, really frustrating for people.
Yep. So what should we do?
Stop doing all the things.
Stop doing the things. I love how you said technology bloat.
It is bloat. Mm-hmm. It is bloat. More isn't more. There are certain things that we could be using that create more leverage than others. Okay. And our unwillingness to learn skills, like with AI, and you just go out and you buy all the AI apps rather than learning to actually work with AI. That's a great example. So I have ChatGPT Pro, or whatever they call it. Yep. I pay $20 a month for it, and I can do almost everything that you can do with your 10 AI apps, right? And I'm also learning something in the meantime. So everybody wants things done for them. There is beauty in knowing why you need it and how it works and how it integrates with these other tools. So having the tech stack that is perfect for your strategy and your business is like priority one as you look toward 2026 and really optimizing.
Help myself and agents out there understand, like, well, how do you know which ones? Like, how do you know which part of your, what are you adding your tech stack that's going to make you more efficient? Is there a mental filter that you can add to that to say, hey, this one's good for me, this one's bad for me, as opposed to the next shiny thing?
Yeah. So you have to know yourself first. Admittedly, I coach people all the time that will come right to the table and go, look, I am completely tech challenged. I don't know how this works, but I think I need this thing to be successful. You might not. So know yourself, know your business. If your market says that if you sell 10 to 15 units based on your average sale price, you're going to make a great living, you don't need the end-all be-all CRM. You could probably run that business off a spreadsheet. And I know everyone's going to bristle when I say that because it's not supposed to be that way, but it is. If all you're doing is cranking 10 to 15 units a year, you have no business spending all of this time and all of this money building and trying to scale this technology stack that's maybe appropriate for someone who's running 75 to 100 deals or more per year, or working with team members or something like that. Those are very different technology solutions, and it's okay to scale back and go to basics on some of these things rather than, it's like having the keys to a Ferrari and not knowing how to drive. It makes no sense.
That's interesting because when you think of scaling back, I'm missing out. That's to me what I feel like somebody would be missing out.
They would be missing out on overwhelm, on having to sit on trainings that are never going to move their business. You're right. Yeah. They would be missing out on some things, but nothing that is going to keep them from being successful, I promise.
Yeah. Great. So we've seen it in just our user profile, and like there's an agent that'll sign up for it and then like 3-4 months later use it, or agents that maybe use it and they don't have that many listings throughout the year. So it's like our ideal customer for Offerin is the one that's doing a lot, not just with their, a part-time real estate agent that just does that for a few hours a month. That's not our ideal customer, but the ones that are scaling a business, maybe teams, maybe as someone that we have a grouping. It's interesting of like people doing fix and flips, investment properties, but also do real estate, and they're part-time real estate agents, but maybe sell 6 to 10 houses a year, but love the tool because it's like they can be on a job site doing their thing while the technology manages it.
Correct.
Speak to that. So what technology should someone use? Are you anti-technology then?
No, I love it.
Okay.
I love all of it.
Knowing you, that is the answer I expected.
I love all of it, I admit.
How does an agent know which one to use? You say, okay, know thyself.
Know
right?
thyself, know the business that you're building. How many units do you effectively need to sell, or are you trying to scale up into?
Yep.
Number of units tends to be the measurement, not how much money you make or how much volume you have.
Yep.
Because when we're talking about technology, what we're talking about is workflow and efficiencies in workflow. So how many times do you do the darn thing?
Yep.
And where are the leverage points in there? Where are the points when the nature of how we do what we do, it's chaotic. Sometimes I have 5 minutes to tell someone how to prepare for a home inspection. Sometimes I have 30 seconds to tell someone. So how could I leverage technology so that I am building a consistent experience for the client, anticipating the parts where they're going to get a little anxious, and what could I deploy in those moments with the help of technology to kind of smooth out, that experience, inform, educate for sure. Those are kind of the things that I'm looking at more than I'm looking at it's going to make me however much money per year.
Sure.
I'm looking at saving time and increasing the experience for my client.
Awesome. Yeah, that's kind of what I was hearing from what you're saying. Time efficiency, client experience, and then the third thing, because still at the core of this technology is the real estate agent. So you need to stay the rock star, right? The agent needs to stay that quarterback, if you will. Are there technologies that replace an agent? Because you hear these thoughts that technology is going to replace the real estate agent.
Yeah.
All right. What's your take on that?
I'm going to say an emphatic no.
Why not? I believe you, by the way.
Yeah.
'Cause I agree with you.
There's always going to be that element of human touch that's required in times of great stress. I'll give this analogy. So I go to the doctor, now I have my chart. And I got to talk to the doctor for 3.2 minutes. And now he knows all about me, right? This is a true story, just happened. And he's like, okay, come in and have a blood panel. They do the blood panel. I get the results on my chart. Now you could argue that that's great technology, but I got the results before my doctor could put those in context for me. So, you know, I'm looking for something in particular from those results. Am I falling within norm for what I'm worried about? Am I not falling it? You know, now I got to wait to hear from them. Well, he'll call you if there's a problem. Great. My experience as a patient right then and there is awful. I'm stressed out. I'm anxious. I'm now taking my chart and putting it into Chat GPT just because I can't wait to have that context brought to me about what's actually going on. It's the same thing in real estate. You need the human to provide the context. Yep. What technology does is it should be replacing those administrative things that are not enhanced by you having your DNA on them. Mm-hmm. That's where Offerin comes in. My client's experience isn't better if I do that net sheet myself, if I put that multiple offer spreadsheet in myself. I would argue it's probably less of a great experience for my client at that point. With Offerin, it's all going in simultaneously. They can be notified the same time I am. Yep. I don't have to worry about, did I miss something because I'm loading the hockey gear in the back of the car? You know, it allows me to be more consistent. So the technology that I'm introducing, it marries well with my vision for my business, and it marries well with that that offer of quality service that I'm promising when I'm asking someone for their business.
So the agent stays at the center. Mm-hmm. Finding tools that are efficient, that are going to make you more efficient, that can maybe take some of those administrative tasks away and improves client experiences.
Yeah, that's it.
That's great.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
If it can do those things, you need it in your life.
Mm-hmm. What if it can't?
Yeah, get rid of it.
Cut it. All right.
Cut it. You should be looking at your bank statement at the end of every month. I make my coaching clients do this. They know the drill. You know, about the first week of the month, we have our call and we get on and everybody has to bring their bank statements. And we go through and we say, what reoccurring charges do you have? You know, how is this really adding value to your business? Mm-hmm. And maybe it's something that will add value eventually, but you've scaled too quickly. You know, you still haven't built the foundation to the house and you're, you know, looking at slate shingles. Yeah. It's just, you know, someday you'll be there. But right now there's beauty in staying really small and getting really good at those core technologies in a tech stack.
Great. I could probably talk for another hour on some of those things, specifically like the types of tech. And you mentioned scaling. Lead gen type tools are really interesting to me. Like that's such a market. Like, you know, if you compare like our offer management system, there's a couple of them out there, not many, but versus a lead gen thing. And it's a 5-to-1 ratio, lead gen softwares to like even transaction management system, like 5-to-1. So there's so many, like you were saying before, so many technologies out there that promise to make you more efficient. So yeah, well, I would love to dive into that, but we're going to move on to AI. So I would love to get your take.
Another 3 hours.
Yeah, another 3 hours. How are you seeing agents use AI?
Poorly.
Oh,
okay. In a limited fashion. I recently taught a class in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we went around the room and I said, how many of you are using AI? And every hand shot up.
Sure.
And then I said, what are you using it for? And I got 2 answers. And the number one answer by a vast majority was, I'm using it to write MLS descriptions, right? The bane of everyone in real estate's business is they just cannot stand writing those MLS descriptions. I get it. You know, no matter how good you think you do it, the agent's got something to say about it on the other side. Sure. The owner's got something to say about it. You forgot to say this or that. So they went to that pain point first. And then sometimes they use it to write an email. And the sad part is that is such a limited view of what AI can do for you in your business. If you've ever thought I needed a virtual assistant, AI can replace that for you. And I think there's a much broader conversation that can be had about what it can do for a real estate agent.
I'd love to just scratch the surface of that broader conversation. From your perspective, from you personally, and also all the agents you're coaching, what are maybe just the top way you can use AI beyond writing MLS descriptions, beyond writing emails?
Yeah. Use it as your collaboration partner.
Okay.
Use it to vet out whatever it is you're planning, you're thinking about. Use it for research for what you're planning and thinking about. So you're testing your idea before you trot it out there. I told you before, I'm kind of the ready, fire, aim girl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
AI slows that down in that I can have that conversation with chat in such a way that I can see gaps in my thinking. I might see more opportunities. So learning to use it as a thought partner for me has been the biggest game-changing thing that I've implemented in my business, I would argue, over the 32 years I've been doing this.
How about put some skin on that? Like, give me a live example of how you use it in real life. So today you're going to go out and how do you use it as your thought partner? Give me an example.
So I'll give you an example everyone can use. And we're all trying to get control of our time. Mm-hmm. And it's really controlling ourselves and task management. It's a challenge. And so having your brain salad, if you will, all those things that you need to get done, if you dump those into AI and you use a prompt to prioritize those and go down through those tasks with an estimate of how long it will take you to do those things. So is it 15 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it an hour and a half? Like, how long would it really take to effectively, check that box and get that task off your list? So you go down through it, you dump all that stuff in, and then you ask it to prioritize it. I use the Eisenhower quadrants. So Q1 being important and urgent, right? That lead gen for a real estate agent would be important and urgent, negotiating a contract. Then we have important but not urgent, those CEO kind of minded things that we need some time and space to think about, but they're not urgent. They're not necessarily time sensitive. Like, no one's showing up at our door saying, why isn't this done? And then you've got, of course, urgent but not important. That's what lives in your email and your text message app and all of those things. And then, of course, you've got all the rest that fall in quadrant 4. So I actually ask chat to go down through my brain salad, sort it all out, and tell me what quadrant do these things fall into. And then I ask it to refine it with me one by one. So we go task by task and I vet it so that I know that when I actually launch off to my day or my week, that I'm spending time on the right things. And I'm not just doing mindlessly. Having AI as your thought partner on that can make an incredible difference. You can even screenshot your calendar, upload it into chat, and ask it to evaluate how much of your time is spent in which quadrant. Now, a lot of people aren't taking the time to do that. So they're like, whew, I'm busy, man. I'm killing it. Yep. And it's like, when's your next deal closing? Oh, I don't have anything in escrow. How many days are going to go by where you're going to say how busy and tired you are and you're not working on the right things? So there's just a little way to use AI as a thought partner to bring yourself into alignment and create a little bit of self-accountability just by doing that. At least I would argue once a week. You can do it more often depending on how dedicated and regimented you want to be with it.
That's great. How do you train or help an agent that might be intimidated by it?
That's a great question. How would I help you? Probably by starting with something really small and simple and letting you see how it is a conversation. It isn't about being trained, knowing the right thing to put in. There are ways that you can add commands to prompts so that it's a refinement over time. It's a brainstorming session. It's a collaboration. It's not you need to know the right thing to put in to get out what you want. That's unicorn hunting at that point. Yeah. We're not going to do that. Even if you buy a prompt from someone, there's no guarantee that what you get out is going to be exactly right the first time. Mm-hmm. But understanding and teaching the conversation that can go on in the refinement process. And then at the very end of all of it, when you have what you wanted, asking it to create the prompt for you to deliver that same result the next time, it's perfection.
Yeah, I feel that's we have so many AI features that we're planning on rolling out, but like I feel sometimes that there's an intimidation from the agent and also their client. They don't want to like overwhelm their client with all this AI stuff. And right now, I think we're decent at seeing the difference between a real person and AI person or AI agent. But over time, here in the near future, I predict that we're not going to know the difference. It's going to be very fluid. So we've looked at a lot of different tools in the AI space. When you're talking to an agent, they're slow. They're like, they may pause for a few minutes, or a few seconds before they actually respond to your question. But it's all about data and the time and the money. So the agents that talk like you and I right now, they're out there, right? They're out there. So, there's opportunities and ways to use that in customer service and virtual assistants. We can talk to our AI. So I think it can be intimidating, it can be overwhelming. We're kind of like the early adopters, I would say. We're still at the very beginning of this. It's not going away.
No.
Not going away. In fact, we need to learn how to adopt it. And that's, I'm glad that we are scratching the surface on this conversation. You gave some practical examples. Thank you. So, from today onward, what technology or AI systems do you believe will be the game changers in the coming future for real estate specifically?
There's so much out there right now, and AI is really being talked about in what it can do to generate video without you actually having to be on video, or your voice. And everybody's talking about how it can replace them in some way, shape, or form. It's the thing they're most afraid of, but it's the thing they want to talk about most. It's an interesting thing. I think where the biggest opportunities lie is in our ability to gain insights from data as being rookies. When we're going in and we're trying to do a market study, we're able to now, access all of these things that if we were, 2 years ago to spread all these printouts over on the table, it's very difficult to see the trends, to see the gaps, and to understand what's going on unless you've been in the business a really long time. It's not the same anymore. I can upload so much data into AI and get so many more insights and just ask questions. Like, how does this, recently I was looking at a luxury property. Okay. How do luxury properties on the West Side and those West Side counties compare to the market of luxury properties on the East Side? Those people are coming from out of town. They're looking, they have a price range. Why do they tend to gravitate here and not there? When you're looking at, just sort of making sense of it all, for a real estate agent, that can be very time consuming. And I think you're going to see a lot of movement there. And I think you're going to see people be better equipped to advise their client instead of having all these different data sources, bringing it all together. Yep. It's pretty amazing.
How about bold predictions over the next 5 years? What's that look like? Any thoughts that you've learned, conversations you've had? Like what is AI and technology? How does it impact real estate?
I think our ability to market is going to get easier. I think it's going to get better. I think being able to bridge that gap between I have a vision for what I want for this marketing and then what actually comes out the other side of it. Usually there's a skill set that has to be, in the middle of that. I have a lot of people with really great ideas, but they can't affect the outcome because they lack that skill set in between. I think AI is going to fill in that skill set in between where you are now and where you want to be. How cool would it be to say, I want a workflow in my CRM that does this, this, and this. And it was as easy as just, casting it out like that and then having AI be able to make those changes inside the program for you without you having to become a PhD at that particular piece of software or hire a consultant to do it. So I think implementation will become extremely rapid because you will not have to know how to do all the things yourself.
I would argue our tendencies are still going to be there. Yeah. Right. So my tendency to approach is different than someone else's tendency to approach a situation. And I think it's going to give those that have superpowers even more superpowers. because
100%.
now they're able to collaborate with a really intelligent person that has billions of documents, backing them up, and they can think differently. But their actions, so those that kind of capture it and find their workflows, find their efficiencies in it, I think will be even better. I think at times, people that call lazy. That they call, people that want to be lazy and think that they can get more just by, hey, I'll just do some chat GPT and it'll make me money. Mm-hmm. I think those people will struggle, right? Because the work ethic still has to be in the human touch, which you were speaking of before, still has to be there. So that's cool.
Well, it's if you're just chucking things into chat and you're seeing what you're going to get back out, it's going to be really vague, really general. It's not going to sound like you. You have to put in the time so that it's a refinement of your thoughts. It's not a replacement of your thoughts, and that's the key. And I think that when you start working with it, sticking with that refinement process, not just like, okay, this is the second time I've asked it to rewrite it or make these changes, or it's asking you 10 questions in a row. Well, slow that down. Ask me the questions one by one. That little tweak can change the outcome significantly because the next question it asks will be predicated on how you answered rather than just shooting out a list of 10 questions to gain clarity about your brand voice, for example. Yep. So understanding how to slow it down, understanding how the refinement process in and of itself is genius, and that's where you get to the good stuff. These little shortcuts that are in different software applications that we use. So for example, like in RPR, which is a program every realtor pays for and almost no one uses, but they all should. When you're in there, there's an AI component can write video scripts for you. It can write blog posts for you. That's part of the job. Yes, you could take it out of there and you can paste it into your landing page for your blog on your website. And in my opinion, that's about as lazy and half-assed as it gets.
There you go.
But when you bring your humanity into it and then you take that little AI generated blurb out and you put it in Chat GPT with your voice and you refine it and you bring context to it, now you've created really something amazing. And that's where we need to get to as agents.
Refinement, not replacement. That's good.
Absolutely.
I like that. All right. Rapid fire round. You ready? Now, just to preface, I didn't give you any of these questions, so you're not quite sure. So I'm just curious on how fast thinking you are. You're a fire, then ready, aim, fire, and you're fire, ready, fire, aim.
Yeah. So let's see what's going to come out of my mouth. Okay.
What's your favorite book?
Atlas Shrugged.
Favorite quote?
Be where your feet are.
Ooh, that's good. Someone who inspired you in business?
My parents. They own several businesses and were entrepreneurs. That's all I saw. No one ever worked a day job in air quotes at my house. So very entrepreneurial upbringing.
Awesome. That's why your mind works the way it works.
Maybe.
It's cool. Yeah. So how about this? If you didn't do real estate, what would you be doing?
I would be a teacher of some sort. I really love pouring into people and watching light bulbs come on.
That's cool. What age bracket do you like? Is it adult learning?
Yeah, I've taught technology skills to English as a second language students. That was probably my favorite group of people to ever teach. And I do love curious adults and adult learners. They're fun.
So if you were to start over, as knowing you still have all the knowledge, but you were to start over as a new agent, what's the first thing you would tell yourself?
Build the database. Build the database. It is boring and it sucks, but build the damn database. Great. It is the cornerstone of your entire business.
Awesome. I have to ask everybody, Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, see, it depends.
Oh, really? Never heard that response before. Really?
It really depends.
Very clear in my mind.
Is it really clear in your mind?
Oh, it's Coke.
What?
Yes.
No, that's incorrect. If you're eating pizza anything greasy, it's got to be Pepsi because it's not quite as sweet.
Okay.
But Coke is definitely the choice if you're not doing that. If you want something sweeter, I think it's Coke. Coke Float for sure.
Oh, okay.
Or Dr. Pepper Float.
Oh, here we go.
But yeah, it depends.
Puppies or cats?
Oh, puppies.
Okay.
100%. Rescue puppies if you can.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, Stacey, this has truly been gold. Thank you. If people listening want to dig deeper, get coaching, start using AI more wisely, love for them to connect with Stacey. I'm sure you'd be happy to have a conversation with folks.
Anytime.
So, what's the best way for listeners to connect with you?
Leaning into that Instagram. So Realtor McVey on Instagram.
Realtor.
Every Wednesday, we host an Ask Me Anything session at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Anyone can join in. If you're stuck on something, you have a question, you want a second opinion on something, a different approach or script, really, it runs the gamut. We talk about a little bit of everything on there, including AI.
Great.
So if you're, inclined to try us out, it's a great way to kind of access that.
Awesome. So at Realtor McVey, and that's MCVEY.
It is.
All right. Awesome. Wonderful. Thanks so much for being here. And you've been a great guest.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.